A little bit of everything podcast. Ooh, Luck is in the building. Well, Luck is in the car. You know what's crazy? I went to go see my mama today, and when I woke up this morning, I'm like, man, I need to do a podcast, but I needed to come pull up on her. I had some things over there I needed to pick up. And so I'm like, I'm going to just do a podcast in the car. You feel me? I've done it before. So I didn't think it'd be, that difficult of a thing to take on. And so I'm over at that crib. She made shrimp and grits tonight, which was popping, big shrimp and grits. And so I jump on to see which exactly what the name of the episode was live while I'm in traffic with it was the exact name of it. But come to find out, I did the exact same. This is the exact same day last year that I did the podcast while I was driving in the car. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty dope, I guess, huh? Maybe just on the 9th of February, maybe I just need to every year just have a in the car podcast. I mean, it fits. You know what I'm talking about? I could just jump on this thing and bust it down on the ride home. Easy money. I ain't, I'm normally on the ride home listening to sports talk radio. Might throw the music on, get in the groove or whatever. But yeah, so here we are, live in traffic. But I'm gonna start off with something that my Bay Area people can for sure relate to. I know I got listeners really all over the world, man. I mean, literally all over the world. But something that my Bay Area people can for sure relate to, which is the toll. Now, it just went up to $7 on January 1st. You feel me? I think they're going to raise it every 2 years. So, by 24, it's going to be $8. Like every year, just going to raise it up. But what I was thinking about was how the pandemic really sped up what they was getting ready to do anyway. Because the Bay Bridge, I think the Golden Gate Bridge, was the first one to get rid of its tellers. And then I want to say, no, maybe it just was only the Golden Gate at that point, before the pandemic. And then once the pandemic hit, they pretty much just took everybody out of the equation because you couldn't properly protect people. You feel me? People coming up to the window, you feel me, passing you money or passing you change. You feel me? They coughing and choking and breathing, whatever. It's a little, so it was unsafe to have humans interacting with humans at that time. But that's all they was getting ready to do anyway. Everybody got fast track. You automatically take out of the human-on-human contact, which sometimes was arguments, which sometimes was just interactions that people didn't want. And I don't know why that's going on. Forgot the seatbelt on. But interactions people didn't want. And it was also, I think, becoming a safety issue because, accidents can happen. You know what I'm saying? And so it was getting ready to get rid of everybody. And I remember back in the day, maybe like 10 years ago, how that was a job that a lot of people wanted, like to be a toll taker. Like, that was a good paying job. I knew a few people that was doing it, and they didn't necessarily like having to deal with people, but they was cool with, getting paid really good. It was a state job, so it was well benefited and all that old good shit. But yeah, man, it's gonna keep going up. It's a little outrageous. Let me tell you this. Back in 2011, or was it 10? 10 or 11, my homeboy Ryan had moved to New York for a couple years, Mickey Free. And when he's out there for maybe about 3 months. And it was pretty much like my second time talking to him since he had moved out there. And he was telling me how They bridge tolls in New York and New Jersey at that time was like $10, $11. I'm like, oh, but back then ours was like 4, 5 or something like that. Just made it to 5 or just made it to 4, something like that. But theirs was like $8, $6, $7 more. I'm like, ooh, like that's a lot. And he was like, to get certain places, you gotta cross 2 bridges, and some of them, like you gotta pay both ways, and it's just like, damn, that's crazy. So I knew we was headed for it at some point. Once he told me that, like, just kind of broke down how much money they be getting off of it, and I'm like, yeah, you know, California, they some dirtbags. They're gonna for sure try to run that up on us, get they few little ends and dividends off us. But yeah, they 7 is it right now. I think every 2 years they just gonna boost it up. You feel me? Before you know it, we're gonna pay 10, and it's just gonna be the way it is. Everything is already expensive as hell. But like, if anybody remember the little recession we had back in like 2008, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9. That once we came out of it, like everything, the prices on everything kind of jumped, and we just had a global pandemic, or I think we're kind of on the ass end of it, but like everything is gonna cost. Like people, like the economy is trying to get its money back. Pretty much, it's a machine. You know that it wasn't gonna be cheap. I wouldn't be shocked at some point if them stimulus packages we was giving out probably end up coming back to bite us somewhere down the line, because that's how they get down. Like, it's never free. You may think it's free, it may come off free, they may word it a certain way, but eventually they gonna come get their money from us. That's what they want to do. They all about their bread at the end of the day. So, you know, just be on the lookout. Now, if it happened and I'm right, everybody owe me a shot that's listening right now. And not all at once, but you owe me a shot when I see you. And we're gonna do it like that. Now, I've been compiling this list of movies in the 90s that really ain't that good, but everybody like loves them or hypes them. Like, I know it's a lot of movies that we saw as kids, or we just saw when we was younger, like teenagers, whatever. And at the time, you was like, man, that's a dope ass movie. That was a great movie. That's one of my favorite movies. But then I see him as an adult, and I be like, what the hell is this? Like, this is terrible acting. This is a terrible plot, terrible storyline. So this is just a few that I jotted down. You feel me? And I know I'm gonna ruffle a few feathers with some of these, but it's all good. I'm here to ruffle feathers. That's the only reason I made the podcast, was to ruffle feathers. So, Poetic Justice was not a good movie. Okay? It just wasn't. Sorry. Baby Boy was never a good movie, but it became even worse of a movie when BET wouldn't stop playing it. So Baby Boy was never a good movie. Love and Basketball was never a good movie. Brown Sugar, sorry, never was a good movie. Set It Off, no. Belly, now listen, everybody loved Belly. DMX was the hottest thing on earth. That intro was incredible. That storyline was trash. Nigga moving to Africa, how you get shot in the barber? You get a barber to go, like, what the? I couldn't do it. But the intro will always be one of the dopest ever. Will always be one of the dopest ever. Belly for show. Dead Presidents was terrible. Menace to Society was not a good movie. Okay? It just wasn't. Vampire in Brooklyn was a horrible movie. And Eddie didn't even really miss that much. Eddie really didn't miss that much. If Eddie was involved in something in the 80s and the 90s, it was going to be a good movie. But Vampire in Brooklyn was not it. Above the Rim was a horrible movie. Now, Above the Rim had the best soundtrack, I think, ever created. Okay? But the movie itself was terrible. I don't even know why like, the hooping was cool, but I mean, the hooping was alright too. But I mean, you know, It wasn't that good, man. Cool Runnings. No, was not a good movie. And that was a Disney movie. It was a terrible movie. Okay? Jason's Lyric. Terrible. The Best Man. Terrible. Okay? Love Jones. Terrible. Did I say that one already? No, I said Love and Basketball. Love Jones. Terrible. It was a lot of bad movies in the 90s, man. It just was. It really was. And I think we gotta come to grips with that. Now, I know I rifled off a few that y'all just is gonna feel some type of way about. And I always love when people interact after they hear the podcast. I don't care if it's a text message, email. I do get some emails. If you got my personal email, I definitely be getting them. DMs for sure be popping on certain ones. Like, I just like it's not even about the controversy. I just like to just hear what people think when they hear it. But them movies I just named was not good. Sorry. It just wasn't good. Hate to break the news to you. I know some of them, a lot of people who gonna hear this gotta feel a lot of ways about a lot of them movies I said. But they just wasn't good, man. And that's okay. We had a lot of bad movies in our day that we thought was just incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like, we thought like that was the movie when we was growing up. Wasn't it? Okay? Wasn't it? But it's all good. It's a lot of bad movies that preceded that. Now, my next list is going to have to be some bad movies that was in the 2000s. We had a lot of them, too. Whole lot of them. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So these next two, they're kind of hand in hand, run right next to each other. I guess I could go with, all right, it's about the dating pool that we in, right? Which a lot of people say is a cesspool because there's this theory going around, or this idea floating around, that men are dating women for their bodies and women are dating men for their pockets. And I think that it's all, I mean, it's some truth to it, but it depends on the person who's doing the dating. In all honesty, it's a lot of women out there who are looking for men who got some money going on, or, you know, they scamming, or they finding a way to, you feel me, get some extra bread somehow. Like, that's something that women are into. I once heard a rapper say, show me a happy hoe with a broke nigga. And like, weird, like that's pretty real. Like, you not saying money makes or breaks everything, but you gotta have money. Like, you cannot not have it. Not saying you have to have an enormous amount where she could just get whatever she want whenever she want it, but you gotta have some bread on deck just in case. You know what I'm saying? And the men dating women's body part is kind of real, because it's a lot of men out here who won't even give a chick a shot if she ain't got her body done, or they don't look her way if she ain't got her body done. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, yeah, got the body done in some form of fashion. It may not just be the whole lipo 360 back suction, triple entendre flip thing that y'all get in Costa Rica somewhere. But, I mean, it's a lot of people got standards. Now, some standards, it's a lot of people who have standards that they didn't used to have these standards back in the day. They was just fuck with whatever came through, and that was it. And now, if you ain't got the BBL, or you ain't got the titties done or something, they cool. They don't even want to waste their time trying to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? And which leads to the second part of this, which is do men still pursue women? And I said this maybe about 7-8 years ago on Facebook, and I rubbed a lot of people the wrong way when I said it. I think I said it sometime like January, back about 6, 7, 8 years ago. But I saw it back then. Like, women are not the prize like that anymore. Like 15 years ago, you feel me? 20 years ago, you had to kind of lightweight bend over backwards to get a chick. Like, if you really wanted her, you really had to pursue her. Take her on dates, flowers, candy, well, maybe not flowers and candy, but flowers, or, just nice shit that she liked. That she liked, you'll get it for her. You feel me? Like, you really had to pursue her. You had to be, like, on her. That's how you got them back then. I don't make the rules, I just play by them. If you was a nigga of my caliber, you did that with a lot of women. But that was how you got them. You had to put in more work than you kind of wanted to get her in any form. Even if it was just to get the pussy, you still had to do it. Nowadays, you ain't even really got to do much or nothing to get them at all. And nowadays, most of the time, the women be ready for you. They'll come for you. They'll slide in the DM. They'll pull you to the side when they want to holler at you about something. You feel me? They'll overly flirt. Now, you got to pick up on the flirting, but they'll overly flirt. Like they'll make it obvious that they want you. You know what I'm talking about? And it's 50-50 now. It's no longer the days of I just got to do everything to get her, or I got to go over the top to get her. Even the bad, beautiful, incredible ones, like, all you got to do is, you feel me, show up with some penis and a bottle, and it's on. And y'all can have the whole thing cracking for a long time. But yeah, I seen it coming, man. It was just women, and I don't want to say women have become desperate. Like, that's not my angle that I'm trying to reach with y'all. But like, it's desperate ain't the word. It ain't. Desperate is not the word I'm looking for. But they are looking for a little more love than maybe they was a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. To be looking for something like there's a lot of girls out here who would like to be, in a solid relationship and be with one man and be happy. You know what I mean? But it's a little difficult out here for all of that. I mean, it's a lot more. You got a lot more opportunities now than you probably had a while back. Like, social media is just opportunity heaven. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can just come to you in many forms and fashions. You just gotta be up under the umbrella to get wet, essentially. You know what I mean? So it's tough sledding. But like I said, man, it's 50-50 now. It's a toss-up. You feel me? And women will go above and beyond for men now, the same way that, just little things that they like, a woman to just do it now. You know what I'm saying? Where back in the day, like, a woman wouldn't really do much for you unless you was her nigga. If you was her dude, then she was making sure you was cool, and she would do, a bunch of stuff for you. And I'm telling you, I done bought chicks all types of flowers and cards and, shit like that to try to get them, to woo them, to get them right where I want them. Most didn't. There's been women I didn't have to do anything for and still got. You know what I'm saying? Little nothing. Just show up with a movie star smile and a few jokes. And, every woman is different. But we do live in uncharted waters right now. Uncharted waters right now, I should say. And, I mean, the dating pool is different. It definitely is different right now. And I don't think it's going to ever go back, because social media just makes it too wild, to say the least. But yeah, so if you're single out there, like quite a few of us are, you know, if you can get you something good, you better lock that thing in the corner, even if it ain't ready to be 100% in a relationship because of circumstances. You still better just make sure that, you know, you got that locked down in whatever form or fashion you feel like you can do it. Because you hate to lose something in this, or you might not get it back. You might end up pregnant somewhere with somebody and you ain't gonna be mad at everybody. That's how it go, man. That's really how it go. What was this one? Oh, which was funnier? And I see this a lot mostly on Twitter, but I see this a lot. Martin or the Jamie Foxx show. Now, Martin was before the Jamie Foxx show, so it kind of, you know, gave some brick land for that to, you know, it was one of them shows that took off. And the Jamie Foxx, let me tell you about do y'all remember what used to come on? All I know is it was the Jamie Foxx show at, I want to say 8, and the Wayans brothers at 8:30. They used to come back to back, but it was like a combination of like 4 shows. But I was always interested in the Wayans brothers and Jamie Foxx because those are the funniest ones to me. Jamie Foxx show was hilarious, and as much as I want to say it was funnier than Martin, I think it was funnier than Martin. Like, Martin was hilarious, but it was. That last season of Martin was tough because him and Gina was going through the whole, you know, whatever. I guess she felt like she was being harassed by him. And that last season was tough with them not really being on screen together because they chemistry made the whole everybody else chemistry kind of go. I know Martin and Pam had their own thing, but like you got to see like people, like everybody else reaction to Martin and Pam, so it just made it even more funnier. But Jamie Foxx was comedy, man, all the way up into the bitter end. Even when they got into the Jingles 2000 when he was working at the little job, that was hilarious too. Like, Jamie Foxx show was really hella funny, and like you had to be there. Like I stand by that. It's a lot of stuff. The older I get, the more I realize, like, you just had to just be there at that moment. Like for example, when Back That Ass Up first hit the airwaves, the streets, your CD player, like, you had to be there. It was just, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it was just that right there. Like, that was it. Like, it was one of the greatest things you ever experienced. Like, it was just, that was it. You know, a lot of television shows, like, you just had to be there when they first hit. You can still go back and see them, which is so dope. Like The Sopranos. The Sopranos is a show that I wish I had watched when it first dropped. And I caught it, like, buku years later, so many years later. But when I finished it, after I went through it, I was like, blood, this is one of the greatest shows I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was a great show. Like, I'm watching Entourage right now, which is, I'm coming to find out, was basically Ballers before Ballers. Ballers was the football one with The Rock. And that was big. I like Ballers. I really like Ballers a lot. Basically with the NFL, and he was running the sports agency and all that old good stuff. I really like that one. These California roads you need to put a few more of them $7 on these roads. But anyway, Entourage is like Ballers. It's like Ballers before Ballers. Marky Mark made both, and now I see where the blueprint of Ballers came from. It came from Entourage. But it's like a great show. Like, you just, in the moment, like, this is really just hella dope. It's like groundbreaking. it's innovating, and you see where other stuff comes from. You know, movies like, you know, TV shows and movies and music and things like that. Like, you just had to be there when it happened for you to just fully grasp like how dope it really was. So, back to my original point though. I feel like I think Jamie Foxx's show was funnier than Martin, man. I just do. And it's neck and neck. You know what I'm saying? And Martin was hilarious, but Jamie was hilarious too. You know what I'm saying? And the Wayans brothers was hilarious too. Hella funny. I'm glad we got to see all of these things. Now look, I'm getting ready to go through a toll right now. So here go another 7 off the board. Another 7 off the board. It is, I do. Oh, yeah, you just gonna come to a complete stop in here, baby? And you got paper tags. Oh my God. They came to a complete stop damn near with the paper tags. I do lightweight miss the toll plaza workers though, because there used to be some work in some of them joints. Caught the right one on the right one. It was some really nice things up in there. You know what I'm talking about? But that was somebody who used to go, you know, back and forth across the water. So, you know, I know. But, yeah, man, a little bit of everything podcast, man. The car one is always dope to me. Like, I'm just in this bitch just mobbing. You know what I'm talking about? I was just talking. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I could do the podcast without actually having to have a microphone and, you know, the computer and all that going. You feel me? Be sober when you do this one. I'm not saying I'm always turned every podcast, but, you know, I'm just sober, just chilling, just vibing out, riding on my way up to the crib. You know what I'm saying? Anything else I got off the top of my head while I got y'all? Anything I can't think of nothing like fresh off the bat. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. A little bit of everything podcast, man. Live in traffic with it. I'll holler at y'all on the flip side. Peace.